although we generally think of Sefer Shemot as the Ramban calls it, the Sefer of Galut and Geula, the Sefer of Exile and Redemption, almost half of the Sefer has nothing to do with that, but instead deals with the details of the Mishkan. We have hundreds of psukim that go into incredible detail about the structure of the Mishkan, the materials of the Mishkan, the clothes used by the Kohanim, and many of these psukim are actually repeated several times in the Torah. This week's Parashat, Parashat Tisa, appears between the two sets of Parashat that focus on the Mishkan, Thwaites and Vayakel Pekudei, and those Parashat are focused almost exclusively on the Mishkan. Now, although this week's Parashat, Tisa, much of the discussion centers around the story of the Chet HaEgel, the golden calf, I'd actually like to focus on a short section at the beginning of the Parashat. The Parashat opens with the mitzvah of the Machatzit HaShekel, the requirement for every man to give a half silver shekel to the Mishkan. Now, although the Machatzit HaShekel was a way for a census to be taken of the Jewish people, the real purpose was to provide funding for the Mishkan and later on for the Bet HaMikdash. All of Masechet Shkalim deals with the protocols of how to collect and how to utilize all the half-shekel coins that were donated annually to the Bet HaMikdash. Now it's interesting when you look at these psukim and you compare and contrast them with the donations of the Mishkan and Lahavdil, the donations that were given for the golden calf. Regarding the Mishkan, the pasuk at the beginning of Parashat Terumah says as follows: "Tell the Jewish people to bring me gifts. You should accept gifts from me for every person whose heart is so moved." So the Jewish people were essentially given a free hand. Donate whatever you want. And we know that actually they were very, very generous, far more so than was expected. As a result, we have the story of the Nesi'im, the leaders of the Jewish people, who almost missed the opportunity to donate to the Mishkan because so much had already been given by the rest of the Jewish people. Similarly, in Parashat Tisa, when it comes to the Chet HaEgel, to the golden calf, the people are told, Aaron said to them, "You take off the gold rings that are on the ears of your wives, your sons and your daughters, and bring them to me." And all the people took off the gold rings that were in their own ears and brought them to Aaron. In both cases, the Jewish people were essentially granted freedom to donate whatever they wanted, and in fact donated far more than what was expected of them. But when it came to the Machatzit HaShekel, the Torah is very clear. Ha'ashir lo yarbeh v'hadan lo yamit. The rich man should not give more, the poor man should not give less. All you should give is precisely Machatzit HaShekel, a half shekel. It's also interesting to note that the donations for the Mishkan and for the Chet HaEgel are very much focused on gold, whereas the Machatzit HaShekel by definition had to be a silver coin. Now in the ancient world, silver was worth less than gold, very similar to today, but was a much more common material for making coins, and as a result would have been much more accessible for most of the population. Accordingly, the Machatzit HaShekel wasn't just a way of counting Am Yisrael, it was a way of ensuring that every person had an equal part in the Mishkan. Whether you were rich or poor, every Jew had the same part in the Mishkan. And the Sefer HaChinuch writes as follows: the essence, the shoresh of the mitzvah is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted for the good of all of Israel and for their merit that the hand of all be equal in the matter of the sacrifices that are brought in front of Him throughout the year. It must be that all be equal, both poor and rich, in one commandment in front of Him, to be considered for good in front of Him through the commandment that they are all included in. Accordingly, the Machatzit HaShekel wasn't just a tax or a convenient method to maintain the finances of the Bet HaMikdash. It was a way that every member of Klal Yisrael could ensure that they had their own individual equal role and part in the avodah itself. Interestingly, the Chinuch adds that although all the men are obligated, not everyone else is. Nashim avadim ktanim were not obligated. Women, servants, and children were not obligated. However, im natnu mekablin mehem, if they did donate, those coins would be accepted. Aval, however, lo min hagoyim, this was not so of the non-Jews. Even though we know non-Jews could participate and donate to certain elements of the Bet HaMikdash, this was not so when it came to the Machatzit HaShekel. The Machatzit HaShekel was the exclusive right of the Jewish people to enable every Jew to have their own part, their own individual but equal role in the Bet HaMikdash, in the physical link between Am Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This coming week we will fulfill the Zecher, the memory, the memorial of the Machatzit HaShekel on Ta'anit Esther. And we should remember and use the opportunity to remind ourselves that every single Jew has our own unique but equal role in the Beit HaMikdash, no matter who we are. Be'ezrat Hashem, we should all be zocher soon to give the real Machatzit HaShekel and not just the Zecher. And through that, we should all be zocher, we should all have the merit to have our own unique and equal portions in the Beit HaMikdash. Shabbat Shalom and Purim Sameach.